I crown you queen of this
Months
kingdom.
passed after the royal wedding. The kingdom flourished under the wisdom of the aging king, while Crown Prince Chinedu and Princess Ada devoted themselves to serving the people. Unlike many members of the royal family before them, they often left the palace to visit villages across the kingdom. They listened to farmers, they comforted widows, they visited orphan children, they ensured that justice reached even the poorest communities. Wherever they went, the people admired them. Many said the kingdom had never seen a royal couple so humble. But time waits for no one. The king's strength slowly began to fade. His once powerful voice grew weaker. He spent more time inside his private chamber than in the royal court. The royal physicians did everything they could. They prepared medicines. They remained by his bedside day and night. Yet the king knew his journey was coming to an end. One quiet evening, he sent for Chinedu and Ada. The couple hurried to his chamber. The old king smiled as they entered. "My children," he said softly, "come closer." They knelt beside his bed. The king quietly took Chinedu's hand. "My son, I searched for you for half my life, but I thank God that I lived long enough to find you." Tears filled Chinedu's eyes. "Father," the king turned to Ada, "my daughter, when you first came into this palace, many doubted you. But today, you have won the heart of an entire kingdom." Ada lowered her head respectfully. "You gave me a family when I believed I had none." The king smiled warmly. Then he spoke his final words of advice. "Always remember, a crown is not a reward. It is a responsibility. Never allow pride to rule your heart. Listen to the cries of the poor. Protect those who cannot protect themselves, and never judge anyone by rumors." Chinedu and Ada nodded through their tears. "We promise," they said together. The old king closed his eyes peacefully. A gentle smile remained upon his face. Surrounded by the people he loved most, the great king breathed his last. The palace bell rang throughout the kingdom. The people wept. For 7 days, the kingdom mourned the passing of a ruler who had been loved by all. When the mourning period ended, preparation began for the coronation. The palace was once again filled with nobles, chiefs, ambassadors, and guests from distant lands. This time, however, the atmosphere was solemn as well as joyful. The people were saying goodbye to one king and watching another and welcoming another. As the royal trumpet sounded, Crown Prince Chinedu walked slowly towards the throne. Ada followed beside him. The high priest lifted the ancient royal crown. "In the presence of God, the royal family, and the people of this kingdom, I crown you, King Chinedu." The crown was gently placed upon his head. Thunderous applause echoed across the palace. Then another crown, smaller but equally magnificent, was lifted. The high priest smiled warmly at Ada. "For your wisdom, for your compassion, and for your unwavering strength, I crown you, Queen Ada." As the crown rested upon her head, tears filled her eyes. She remembered the lonely girl who once cried herself to sleep inside the leaking mud house. She remembered being called a witch. She remembered being rejected by everyone. Never in her wildest dream had she imagined standing here, not as an outcast, but as the queen of an entire kingdom. King Chinedu stood and took Queen Ada's hand. Together they stepped onto the palace balcony. Below them stretched a sea of thousands of cheering citizens. "Long live the king! Long live the queen!" The joyful cries echoed for miles. As Queen Ada looked over the crowd, she whispered softly, "Everything that had happened to me had a purpose." King Chinedu smiled. "And now it is our turn to give hope to others." The crowd erupted into applause once again. But there was one place Queen Ada had not forgotten. One place she knew she had to visit, the village that had once rejected her, Omago. And so, a few weeks after the coronation, the king and queen announced their first royal journey. Their destination was not a wealthy city or a neighboring kingdom. It was the small village where Queen Ada had once been called a witch. The people of Umago had no idea that by this time tomorrow, their queen would be standing before them once again. Subscribe for the next part.